This week on the Sports Greek podcast bonus midweek edition, we're going to go and talk about a few things. We're going to do a little month in review for February, talk about LeBron James talk coming to the Philadelphia 76ers, why the Phillies should absolutely not sign Jake Arrieta to a contract, personal experience of mine, and a few other things. So the midweek bonus show is going to start right now. Hello, everybody. This is the Sports Greeks podcast. I'm your host, Victor Logothetis. Thanks for downloading and listening. This is a special bonus episode. There's a midweek show that we're going to do today. It is the last day of February. I thought it would be fun to do a midweek show, maybe catch a couple of things I forgot to include in my Monday show, and also recap some of the highlights that was the sports month of February. So let's get the business stuff out of the way. I can be followed on Twitter at BigGreek24. Facebook page is the Sports Greek. My email address is victorlogo13 at gmail.com. I contribute to a local sports blog called phillysportsblogs.com. I also write for allpronation.com. And for those of you who are listening to my show from AP Nation, thanks for checking it out. Thanks for downloading and listening. We are part of the APN radio network. That is the All Pro Nation radio network. We started that association this week, so I'm very excited to get the show out to some folks who are following on the allpronation.com network. So here we go. February was just a fantastic month for sports, especially for me. I'm a Philadelphia fan. For those who are tuning in for the first time, and especially the guys who may have downloaded this from the APN radio network, All Pro Nation, I am a Philadelphia fan. I live just south of Philadelphia in Wilmington, Delaware. So I'm going to be objective, but when something good happens with one of those teams, I am going to celebrate it because I am a fan, like a lot of the folks I know that do this kind of thing, and I am a big Eagles fan. I waited 40 plus years for the Super Bowl to happen. So February starts out, the Eagles win the Super Bowl. I still can't believe it happened. They won Super Bowl 52. That was an awesome highlight of the month, and then up until the last couple of nights when the Sixers actually lost a couple of games. They lost last evening, a real tough game to Miami, 102-101. They lost to the Wizards down in Washington on Saturday, 109-94. I don't have the exact score in front of me. I think that's what it was. Up until that point, Philadelphia teams after the Super Bowl had gone 16-0-2. So I think that's a pretty good run. Shows maybe winning is contagious in a city when one team does something as good as the Eagles did. So, those couple of things made February fantastic. You had the Olympics. As part of the Olympics, you had the women's Olympic hockey team winning their first gold medal since 1998. So, again, hats off to them. Happened on the anniversary of the Miracle on Ice 38 years before. The game started technically the day before, but when it ended on the stop by Matty Rooney in the shootout, it was the day that was the actual anniversary of the Miracle on Ice. And there were some similarities, and I talked about that Monday. You had the 20-year drought between gold medals. The men's team in 80, although that game against the Russians didn't win them the gold medal, they won it 2 days later, 20 years before they won the gold medal in 1960 in Squaw Valley. So hats off to the ladies coming back and winning the gold medal against their arch rival Canada team. They're the two best teams in that arena, hands down. They've played, I think, all the past Olympic finals. Those have been the two teams that have played one another. So the USA finally got theirs, and again, hats off to them. Also, hats off to the men's curling team. They won their first ever gold medal. As much as curling may look like a couple of guys cleaning the kitchen floor while you're shooting a Roomba through it. I watched the Canada USA match. There is some strategy involved, and it's actually kind of an entertaining sport to watch. So again, I know those guys work really hard at what they do, and they've got a gold medal to show for it now, and congratulations to them. So, as with always a Super Bowl victory, always have a parade, and the parade was a few days later. We all know what Jason Kelce said, the center for the for the Philadelphia Eagles, a rather profanity-laced tirade, basically just calling everyone out who didn't believe in the Eagles. I'll be honest, I was not a big fan of Jason Kelce last year. I thought he had a terrible year in 2016. I didn't think Jason Peters had a very good year in 2016, but Jason Kelce really came back, played great in 2017. So I've already apologized for my disbelief in both Kelce and Peters. Peters unfortunately got hurt, but before so was playing at an all-pro level himself. So one of the things about that speech was just the language that was used. Many kind of thought maybe it shouldn't have been done since you've got kids and families and everything else there. And a very outspoken critic at first was legendary talk show host Mike Francessa, recently retired. Of course, many people know him as part of the Mike and the Mad Dog team. And, without these guys, maybe I'm not sitting here. Guys like Francessa, Chris Russo, even the local guys in the Philadelphia market that we listened to for so many years that were just pioneers of the sports talk radio format. But on the interview on the radio a few weeks ago, Francessa was famously quoted as saying, why can't these guys just stand up and be in the moment and raise their vocabulary a little bit? And he actually went so far as to say that the Eagles should go ahead and cut Kelce. He said, if I was the owner, I'd cut him. And he was on Philadelphia Sports Radio WIP last Thursday, and it basically said he went back and listened to it, and it wasn't as bad as he thought. He said he wished that some of the language hadn't been used, because without the language, it's just a speech. It would just be epic and would be just played, forever. And he said he was very happy that the Eagles won. The city had waited a long time for this and everything else, and it was just a class act by a real class guy. Understood that maybe he overreacted a little bit and recanted on it. You got to have a lot of respect for somebody that can do that and actually then go on the radio and do it. And Mike was also asked if any of the New York fans were happy that the Eagles finally won a Super Bowl, being they play in the same conference, same division, the NFC East. And he said, well, the Giants, the quandary there was that they've been the only team to beat the Patriots in a Super Bowl, racing on this current, Belichick-Brady regime, and so they're kind of like, they have that. They're in the NFC East, so do you want to see your division win? But at the same time, they certainly were trying to hold on to the fact that they were the only team to have any success in the Super Bowl against the Patriots. That was rather interesting. And he also was asked maybe if he should hire Scott Boras to be his agent, and his reply was, I think Scott's got enough problems right now. Doesn't need to be dealing with me. But it really has been a great month of sports for Philadelphia. For Philadelphia fans, the Flyers overtook first place the other night. The Sixers have had tremendous success. Unfortunately, like I said, they have lost their last two games. So they're still in the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference, going into the playoffs, which would get them a first-round matchup with the Boston Celtics. But like I said on my regular show, I mean, the conference is so condensed from 4 to 8, how it is today could change 10 times over between now and the end of the season. So, if any team gets hot, it's in the back end right now, whether it be the Sixers, the Heat, those teams, you could really make some hay and move up in the conference. And, quite honestly, the Sixers case, it might also be a case of, hey, this is what's going to happen when you face a couple of pretty damn good teams. They escaped from the Heat on Valentine's Day, the last game before the All-Star break. Without Joel Embiid, managed to erase a 24-point deficit in the third quarter and win the game 104-102. They got crushed by the Wizards on Saturday night. And I think they're the 5th or 6th seed right now, and they're a legitimate playoff team. The Heat very well could be a legitimate playoff team for all we know. And Wade threw down 15 points in the fourth quarter. And, they win by one. Arrieta had an open three to end the regulation and missed a shot. So certainly the Sixers could have won the game, but unfortunately they lost. They lost by a point, 102-101. So they're a young team. They're still learning how to win, which gets me to my next point, which is the whole LeBron James fiasco. There's some here, and start on talk radio. This says, when he at the end of the year, let's bring him, down to Philadelphia, and he can become a Sixer and all this other stuff, and I'm not for it. I'm not a fan of that at all, to be honest with you. You know, the Sixers, we'll say, went through the process. I'm not going to say they tanked games. I'll say they went through their process, you know, for 2, 3, however many seasons it was. They drafted Embiid. They drafted Simmons. Unfortunately, they drafted Okafor, which is a mistake. We'll see what Fultz ends up being after they traded to get that pick from the Celtics. But you know, the whole thing here is it's a process. In my mind, it means, and this was mentioned today on talk radio also. And I'll tell you what, I'm not a big fan of Spike Eskin at WIP. However, what he said in his counter argument to the hosts that were touting bringing James in here, his counter argument was, the process means you're trying to build organizational stability, meaning something that is duplicatable. Okay, and you can win. It doesn't mean building a team, bringing in a hired gun, and winning one championship. It's about being sustainable throughout the organization and win multiple titles. And I couldn't agree with him more. There's a right way, there's a wrong way. And to me, the right way is you stay the course with these guys. You keep drafting young, talented players. You let them grow. You let them experience the playoffs as much as you can. And then you move on. And maybe at that point you pick up a free agent for a year or two at that point. You know, I mean, look at the Phillies back in the 70s, and yeah, I'm old enough to remember that team. But but they had a homegrown stable of players. You had Greg Luzinski, you had Mike Schmidt, Larry Boa, you had Bob Boone behind the plate. You know, and they added some guys with trades from other ball clubs, the Maddoxes, the McBrides. Lefty came in, obviously, but in some cases before some of these guys. But they got to the playoffs in 76. They got swept by the Big Red Machine, okay? But they got to the playoffs. They got to experience what it was like. 77, they go in. They play the Dodgers, a series they probably should have won. They had a 2 or 3 run lead in, I think, Game 3 of the series. And it got 2 outs in the ninth and nobody on. It completely got away from them. And they ended up losing the game and losing the series. 78, same thing, they lose again. So 3 straight years with that team, okay, they couldn't win. They couldn't get over the hump. So they brought in a free agent. It was Pete Rose in 79. Didn't work that year, worked the following year. The 76ers, you kind of had a little bit of the same thing. When they brought in Julius Erving, it was a little different situation because the ABA was folding. So you had a bunch of players that, you could certainly go out and get. And they went out and got Irving because basically the team was playing for at that time, the Nets, were so financially strapped that they had to deal him. But they had, again, a nucleus of players, and they got to the finals, I believe in 77 against Portland and lost. They got to the Eastern Conference Finals, 79-80. No, actually, they got to the NBA Finals. I'm sorry, 79-80. It was Magic's rookie year, and they lost. They got back there again 2 years later and lost. So they allowed that team to kind of go into the playoffs and play against the Celtics and the Lakers and try and win without bringing in that quote-unquote hired gun. Then they went out and got Moses Malone. They won a title. So in bringing in a guy like LeBron James next year, number one, he's only gonna come in for a year or two. If you look at where he's been each of the past whatever, those teams have just fallen on hard times unbelievably until he went back. I also believe this is Embiid and Simmons' team. You don't need to bring in a guy at the level of LeBron James. But you need to let the Sixers get into the playoffs, play, see how they're going to do, and let them grow and let them learn from the experience before you do anything like that. And it's fine. Bring in a superstar here and there. Bring in some free agents, but I don't think they need LeBron James. But evidently there was billboards in Cleveland, Philadelphia wants you, and the talk show hosts are all on it. I'm not, and it's I've already listed my reasons. And the other thing that really kind of irritates me is we haven't seen a run like this in Philadelphia for the Sixers in years. And it's fun, and it's enjoyable, and it's, I know they've lost the last 2 games, but, like I said, I was at the game on Valentine's Day when they came back and won that game down 24 without their best player in Embiid. And the place was electric that night. And that's what people should be talking about, not whether or not LeBron James is going to come here June 30th when the free agent thing starts. And shame on Ben Simmons for putting that picture up on Instagram during the All-Star weekend. And, the title was a picture of him and LeBron. The title was, June 30th. And now everybody gets in this big lather that this guy's going to come here. And no offense, he's done this before. He has, talked to other cities and the whole big thing years ago, and they actually televised his decision of where he was going to go. Screw him. Let this team build the way it has been built. Let this organization continue to bring in the players they've been bringing in, and let this team mature on its own, so to speak. And for once, enjoy a Sixers run into the playoffs, something that hasn't happened in quite a while, and quit talking about who's going to be here next year. I could care less right now who's going to be here next year, and again, shame on the talk show hosts who are actually letting this thing be out there, to be honest with you. It's beyond ridiculous. Enjoy the moment. The Sixers' a big PR thing this year is, welcome to the moment. The moment's here. Let's enjoy it. You got 20-some games left. Let's see how many this basketball team can win. Let's see what can happen in the playoffs. I said before that the right matchup, if they can get a home court advantage in one of these series, the Sixers actually could win a series. And at that point, if they have some confidence, maybe they win the next series. Maybe they get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I don't think they can beat Toronto or Boston in that one there in the finals. Okay, and they'll probably, if they end up playing, if they hold right now where they are, the 7th seed, they probably will lose their opening round. But I still think they're a dangerous team. Embiid and Simmons are tough to match up against. I don't care who you are. And let's just enjoy this, however it turns out. And let's talk about who's going to come here next year when the Sixers season ends, whenever that happens to be. If it happens to be at the end of the regular season, if they somehow don't win enough games going down the stretch, or if it's whenever the playoffs for them happen to end. Let's worry about who's going to be here and analyze all that at that point. I've done enough analyzing the last 4 years with this team as to who's going to be here, who they're going to draft, who's not going to be here. And now they're actually a playoff-bound team potentially, and everybody wants to talk about LeBron James, and I'm just sick and tired of it. The other thing I'm kind of sick and tired of too, and I'm a Philadelphia fan, so that's all 4 teams, no matter how much they tease you. Thank you, Philadelphia Flyers. No matter how much they tick you off, 76ers, or completely disappoint you until this year, Philadelphia Eagles. So, I see these things on social media, these put fans in air quotes here, about the Phillies, and, wow, they can be a wild card team this year, and if they go sign Jake Arrieta, we're going to have a parade, and, all this other garbage. Here's the facts about the Philadelphia Phillies, people, so wake up and listen, okay? Get your head out of your whatever you want to say, and here are the facts about the Philadelphia Phillies, okay? They play in the same stinking division as the Washington Nationals, and I understand the Nationals have not gotten out of the first round, probably never will get out of the first round for all I care, the playoffs, okay? The Philadelphia Phillies were a 66-win team a year ago, okay? They've got a rookie manager, okay, who is beyond wherever you want to think that this guy is so far out in left field, okay? And I'm willing to see how it works out. But I see baseball's version of Chip Kelly, okay? And we saw how that ended in the football side of things, okay? That's where I see with Gabe Kapler, all right? He seems like to be a nut job. And let's just see, again, I said this about Aaron Boone. Let's see how this works out for Kapler in the middle of July when the Phillies are on about a 12-game losing streak, and people are wondering if the team has tuned them out. That's what I'm waiting for. Everybody's all, it's getting to be spring, and everybody's feeling great and everything else. And, Gabe Kapler's going to be great. I love his approach. He's new and fresh, and that's what I think of that, okay? Because when the rubber hits the road, none of this garbage he's talking about doing, okay, it's going to help Maikel Franco get any discipline at the plate and stop him from swinging off his heels at times, okay? And it's not going to keep Odubel Herrera from doing a freaking bat flip every time he flies out to the warning track. And it sure as hell is not going to help Cesar Hernandez get any baseball IQ, so he's not making the same base running mistake every freaking time he's on second base. Matter of fact, a game I was listening to on the weekend, he got picked off at first. So that's what I want to see Gabe Kapler do, not this crap about no alarm clocks and the coconut oil and all this other garbage he's talking about. Let's win some freaking games. But the bottom line, again, it's a 66-win team, okay, to get to the playoffs, okay? This is simple math. Anybody out there can figure this out. You need about 86 to 87 wins, okay? And that gets you, if you're lucky, maybe the first wild card, probably the second wild card. So all you've done at that point is you've won X number of games to get to play in somebody else's stadium. Maybe you get lucky on that one day. Then maybe you're in a divisional series where, again, you're not going to be having a home field advantage whatsoever. The Phillies have a lot of question marks on this ball club, okay? Let's go right through them. Mikal Franco, who I happen to like, okay, is a huge question mark. He has come down off the past few years. I understand that Carlos Santana's kind of taking him under his wing. We'll see how that works out. Can J.P. Crawford play shortstop every day in the major leagues? They traded Galvis, which I was not against doing. They've given Crawford the job. Let's see how he handles it. Can Aaron Altier stay healthy over the course of a full season? He was hurt off and on last year. His production when healthy was fantastic, but they need him for at least 130 to 140 games. Can Rhys Hoskins do what he did in 50 games last year for 150 games this year, while, add this to the mix, play a position he's not played regularly, which is going to be left field because they went out and signed Carlos Santana behind the plate. I really want them to see them give Alfaro the job behind the plate. That's what I want to see. He's a hitter, and I like Rupp, but he's not a starting catcher. I like what Rupp can do, but I think he'd be a very good backup. I think they should give Alfaro the job and mix in Rupp if Alfaro goes into a slump, and you got a guy in Cameron Rupp who's been there and can certainly hold it down and catch a few days in a row for you while Alfaro's kind of getting his head around things, so to speak. Their rotation is complete and utter question mark. Can Vince Velasquez pitch deep into ball games? He's talking about pitching 200 innings, I heard on the radio. What's he going to do, start 40 times, go 5 innings a pop? Again, it's great strikeout numbers and everything else, but he throws so many pitches. He's got to get outs earlier in his counts in order to be able to go deeper into games and not tax that bullpen. And the bullpen actually is probably the only bright spot. Nishek's back. They got Neris. I mean, they've got a nice bullpen, but unfortunately, the bullpen will be gassed by June if these guys can't pitch. Eichhoff 2 years ago, it seemed that every time he took the ball for the Phillies, he was stopping a losing streak. And if the Phillies still lost the game, it wasn't because of Eichhoff's pitching. He kept him in the games. The only thing that he once in a while was a little home run susceptible. I love Aaron Nola, but again, these guys have to be able to start 35 times a year. I think Eichhoff went 27 last year or 30. I'm not sure the exact number. And I know Nola didn't pitch the full season. But you've got Nola, you've got Eichhoff, you've got Velasquez. Those three guys you're kind of banking on a little bit. Then you've got a whole, the Zach Eflins, the Livelys, the Pavettas, the Thompsons. And you got to see what these guys can do. So, I hear these guys wanting to sign Jake Arrieta. Well, you're a 66-win team. Here's a pitcher that's going to be on into his age 32 season. Guarantee you he's holding out for a 4 or 5 year contract, which if the Phillies give him that, they're dumber than I thought they were, to be perfectly honest with you. So let's look at Jake Arrieta's numbers over the past. Now, he had the great year in 2015. He won the Cy Young Award. He went 22-6, pitched 229 innings. Every one of his measurable numbers have gone backwards since then, okay? His innings have dropped from 229 to 197 to 168. He started 33 games, 31 games, 30 games, 236 strikeouts, 190 strikeouts, 163 strikeouts. Ks per nine were 9.3, 8.7, 8.7. His walks skyrocketed from 15 to 16. His walks per nine went from 1.9 to 3.5. That's almost double, by the way. Then he cut it back to 2.9 last year. Homers have gone up every year, 10 and 15, 16 and 16, 23 last year. Not numbers you want to see from a guy going to his age 32 season. He'll be 32 on March 6th. So in less than a week, he's going to be 32 years old. And if the Phillies were close, okay. Somebody said, this would be a deal like the Sixers got with J.J. Redick. Well, newsflash, everybody. The Sixers coming out of last year going into this season expected to be a playoff team. The Phillies aren't. They're just not. And why commit money to a 32-year-old pitcher? Why? Because you won a Cy Young Award 3 years ago? Because you won a World Series 2 years ago? He wasn't the reason they won the World Series, I hate to tell you. Okay? If they had gone to the World Series in 15, that's a little bit different. I don't see it. I just don't see it. If you sign him with a 3-year contract, you might be winning by the time he's 35. God knows what you're going to get out of him then. I don't see it. I don't see why you do it. And, another reason, too, is there are going to be teams. If all right, let's just say that everything goes upside down. The Phillies are contending. It's July. They're around 500. They're only a few games out of a wild card spot. Well, the Royals certainly could be looking to deal a guy, say, Danny Duffy. The Tampa Bay Rays, who have done everything they can do in the past week to slash payroll, maybe they're looking to deal Chris Archer at that time. And who'd you rather have? 32-year-old Jake Arrieta locked up for 2 to 3 years at I don't know how many million he's going to want. Rather have him locked up and have really very little control, or would you rather have a younger pitcher like an Archer or like a Danny Duffy, who probably still have some more controllable years on, okay, and would actually be younger, and guys that really haven't hit their ceiling yet? Wouldn't that be better to see these guys come in if you could trade for them, have them hit their ceiling at about the time the Phillies are going to be really good? That's the option I like to see. But again, wake up, please. The Phillies are not going to be in the playoffs this year. Let's start that right now. Let's get that out of the way. The Phillies are not a playoff. Repeat after me. The Philadelphia Phillies are not a playoff team in 2018. Okay? If they win 77, 78 games, that's about an 11 to 12 game improvement, which is fantastic given where they were. Okay? All right, let's see if Eichhoff can stay healthy for a full year. Let's see if Nola can pitch a full season. Let's see if Velasquez can pitch. I'll even go 6 innings average per start with him, to be honest with you. So, okay, and if you can't repeat after me, then write up on the blackboard somewhere 50 times, the Philadelphia Phillies will not be a playoff team in 2018. It's just not going to happen. They're maybe the third best team in the division, although the Braves could be better than them. Depending, we'll see. I think the Phillies will hit the ball. I think they're going to score some runs. I think you're going to see a lot of 7 to 6 games at Citizens Bank Park this year. But I'm telling you right now, their pitching staff is not even at the Mets level. Okay, and the Mets have some question marks in their rotation, but they still at least have DeGrom and Syndergaard. Okay, who the Phillies don't have anything close to, and even signing Jake Arrieta does not change that. And none of the teams in the division are even in the same stratosphere as the Washington Nationals, and God, that hurts me to say that because I really do not like the Washington Nationals. But that's where it is right now. The Nationals right now rule this division, and everybody else kind of is going to have to wait and build their teams to the same level. So it's funny. Speaking of get off the rant now, get my blood pressure back down. Had a very interesting experience with a game coming. I played a Stratomatic baseball league. For anybody who doesn't know what Stratomatic is, Google it. It comes up. It's a board game. Basically, it's based on statistics and the previous years and all that. And I've been in a league for a long, long time. So every year I order my cards up from this company. So I get the shipping notification. They're going to go out Friday. Get the cards on Saturday. This is great. Okay, so I get the new card set. I come home. Envelope's in the door. Okay, this is cool. Pick up the envelope. Envelope's empty. There's nothing in there. I mean, it's empty. Taped around the outside, and then the envelope beat up pretty good too. And if anybody wants to see it, it's out on Facebook. Go and check it out. But so I'm not happy, obviously. I call FedEx, blah blah blah. So I call the game company on Monday, and I tell you, so it's Saturday when this happens. I can't call the game company on Monday. They're not open. Not open on the weekend. So I'm just all weekend's going on, man. This is going to suck. I'm expecting to be in between two companies pointing a finger at one another, saying, talk to them, it's their fault. So I call the game company on Monday, explain what happened, and much to my surprise and delight, I get an apology. I told them I took photos of the envelope. They want to see it. You say, yeah, sure, send them the photos. Stuff gets shipped yesterday. I picked it up at FedEx this morning. Done deal, out. And I'll tell you, it was one of the most pleasant experiences ever. And, Stratomatic's not paying me a dime to say this. They're not an advertiser on the show. But I tell you, for as many things I think that they do wrong, they got this one right. They were fantastic. Their customer service was outstanding. They did what they said they do, which in today's world, how often does that really happen? And I got the product today. I'm very happy. I'm looking over some of the cards right now as I do the show. But it's refreshing when you can deal with a company that actually does what they say they're going to do, and we go from there. So I thought that was fantastic. I'm going to end here with some of the NCAA stuff because we're getting into March Madness next month, and the NCAA yet again. You had the FBI probe. And, 3 letters you don't ever want to see associated with your sport are FBI, okay? We all know about the arrest that happened September, I guess. We all know Rick Pitino got fired in October. And now last Friday we've got documents coming out from this probe. There's like 20 Division I schools that are potentially involved in this. You got players like Fultz in Philadelphia who took money while he was in college. The guy in Miami. I mean, this is bad. This is really bad, and it's all because of the one-up system. You got the coaches in the NCAA under enormous pressure to win because of the money they're getting paid. And I'll tell you what, I know, and I was listening to some radio on Thursday and Friday about this, and one of the hosts had said that the NCAA doesn't want to invoke the death penalty, because they did that with SMU, and in retrospect, it was really a harsh thing to do. Well, you got to do what you got to do, and if you don't do it, somebody else will. That's always kind of been my thing. If you're not willing to clean up your own, whatever you want to say, somebody else is going to do it for you, and more than likely, you're not going to be happy with what they come up with. So we're going to see how far-reaching this ends up being. And then you got one coach they caught on, I guess, on a wiretap, talking about paying $100,000 to this one kid to come play at his school. I mean, my God, at what point do you just kind of see, these are kids. They're student athletes, not athlete students. And I've said for years, and, I can remember Dick Vitale all those years ago saying, hey, just give him a pizza, baby, and everything, give him a pizza once in a while, and they'll be happy. They don't even do that. I mean, some of the rules of the NCAA are just asinine and what they can and cannot do. And that's why you see so many people trying to run around skirting the system. 2 shows you need to watch if you have the opportunity to. They're both 30 for 30 specials. And I'll tell you, the guys that do these are just awesome at what they do. The one is Pony XS, and that is about the SMU stuff, and they go through the whole history of the death penalty and what happened to them with the NCAA. The second one is called The Soul Man. It's about Sonny Vaccaro. Okay, it was a big guy with the shoe companies, whether it be Nike, Adidas, Reebok, all that. And they're just as much to blame, too, by the way. I mean, it started with Michael Jordan, and then they had to find the next big guys who were going into high schools and finding Kobe Bryant. They're trying to sign LeBron James coming out of not college but high school to a shoe deal. And in the NBA, in some cases, it fall, too, by making the rule they made by not allowing high school seniors to come out. I think they changed the age to 19. Now you got all these kids going in as being a freshman, and you got leeches like John Calipari who bring these guys in for a year and then let them go and tell them, yeah, go get the money. Absolutely. I mean, that's got to change. You either let them come in right out of high school, or you say they got to play at least 3 years in college. This one and done stuff is ridiculous as well. But follow the money. That's what you do. You follow the money in these cases, and that's the kind of stuff that happens. And it's bad, it's awful, and it's they're going to have to do something. And then I don't know if it means you treat them like Olympic athletes and let them get endorsements and stuff. I don't know. I don't know what's going to stop this stuff. I don't know if you allow them to have agents in some limited capacity, at least as advisors, quote unquote. But they're going to have to do something. So that's the midweek show, folks. Again, thanks for downloading and listening. Again, the Twitter handle is @BigGreek24. The email address, victorlogo13@gmail.com. Facebook page is The Sports Greek. We'll be back Monday. What we're going to be doing here, we'll be doing the National League Central Division when we do our show next week. And I am going to Arizona for a little bit of the week of March 19th So I'll be doing some stuff out there, hopefully getting some interviews and stuff to play on the show that I will put up on the 26th. So, again, hope everybody has a really good rest of their week and weekend, and we'll be talking to you next week.